Spirit, the Christ Spirit that dwells within each of us. And now if you will speak with me our opening statement, and you can find that on the inside of your bulletin. We'll say it together. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life. God, the good, omnipotent. Now let's take just a moment and breathe while we sit on that thought in this sacred space. And now let's affirm it together once more. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life. God, the good, omnipotent. And so it is. Our songs this morning will be led once again by the fabulous Ronso and the equally fabulous Jeff. I always forget his last name. He's Jeff. No other name
Jeff
needed.
Hart. That's good. Good. Peggy, we're going to take you on the road with us, okay? So as to and open our shows for us, okay? Would you please stand? We're going to see Surely the Presence, which is right inside your front cover. Surely the presence of our God is in this place. I can feel His mighty power and His grace. I can hear the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on His face. Surely the presence of our God is in this place. Surely the presence of our God is in this place. I can feel her mighty power and her grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory on His face. Surely the presence of our God is in this place. And number 72, please. 72. Open. So
Okay, good morning, everybody. How is everybody doing? Do we have any first-time visitors this morning?
Oh, we've got a couple, maybe not for, Joe's back, Joe Carney.
Hi, Joe.
Sally Barton is with us, as well as Dallas Martin. And Xavier and Casey are back. And Linda Frame is back. Welcome, everybody.
How great. What a nice morning. Well attended. Thank you so much for coming. Okay, we have several announcements this week, and I'm going to do them in the order that people told me they wanted me to call them. So we'll talk to, let's see, Pam first. She's waiting. Come on up, Pam. I know how you love to do this. I know how you love to do this.
Is this the new handheld?
Rather do anything else. I'm just here to explain the membership renewal form. We have to do it every year before our annual meeting. I know some people think it's a pain in the, but it's really not that hard. If your contact information has not changed, you just have to write your name, print your name, check the box. The good thing about this is we do learn new addresses and new phone numbers, because when people are moving, they don't think to send their forwarding address to the church. The Zoomers, I will email this form to you. I just wanted to explain it first. And so just fill it out, put it in the offering plate, but you must be a member to fill this out. If you're interested in becoming a member, we have the membership applications on the tables. So you can vote. I mean, after the board votes you in at a board meeting, you can vote at the annual meeting, but you cannot serve for a year. So serve on the board for a year. Sally Snyder, who I don't see yet, is the 2024 nominating chairperson. If you're interested in running for the board, you can just email me and I can send you her contact information. I just want to explain a little bit about the board. The terms are 3 years at a time. There's 6 of them and an alternate. You run for 3 years, you can run again for 3 years, but after the 6 years, you have to lay out at least 1 year. So in our case, David Gatman's 3-year term is up. He can run again. Stephen's on his 6th year. I have bribed, I have begged, I have threatened to petition, I've tried to change the bylaws. He's not going for it. He's like, no. So there are 6 members and an alternate. The alternate is a 1-year term. The other board members are 3-year terms. And I just want to recognize our board members for their amazing leadership. This year, our president was Stephen Keith. Our vice president was Phil Herndon. Hope I said that right. Treasurer was Barbie Dahlman. Secretary was Mary Beth Beller. David Gatman was the building chairperson. And Laura Wellstead is a board member, plus she represents the prayer chaplains. Kate Flack is the alternate. So the alternate will come up for election because it's a 1-year term. David's 3 years will come up for election, and Stephen's 6 years will come up for election. If you have any concerns or questions, just let me know. You can raise your hand here or you can just email me. One thing I do want to do is praise this board for their mortgage fundraiser and all their wonderful ideas. But one thing Megan Lyon pointed out to me a couple of days ago that I have completely spaced, because I decided that 2020 and 2021 did not exist in my brain. So she said, this is the leadership of the board and Sky that got us through COVID. I think I chose to forget that era. But our doors were closed for over a year, almost a year exactly. And 4 Unity churches in Florida went under within 3 months of COVID starting. And it's because of you all, through PayPal and mailing in checks, that we survived that whole year. But I also want to give credit to the membership, and these are the people you voted for. Stephen did research every single day with the CDC and all the requirements and what we had to do to open and everything. And now he's doing tons of research for minister search too, but to get us through COVID was a big deal. They treaded lightly, but they knew what they were doing, and it's because of the people you voted for. So please fill these out so you can vote. It's important that we know who can cast a vote. And the annual meeting is October 27th. There will be Sky's favorite part. There will be a potluck after. And there will also be a potluck next Sunday. So we're going to eat well.
And I'm not mentioning any names, but a certain person I know is going to retire soon, so she will be available maybe next year to serve on the board. Eyes on you. Just kidding, Pam. Okay, let's see. Now we have Stacy.
Good morning, everybody. Just a reminder that this Tuesday, September 10th, is the deadline to have your registration form turned in for the CAMC We Can Climb Hike and Trail Run at Kanawha State Forest. The event benefits the CAMC Child Advocacy Center, which provides support services for children who are victims of abuse. So if you'd like to join in, please return the form to Pam or me, or place it on the white bench outside Pam's office. Unity will happily pay your registration fee and that of any family members. And if you can, please wear a Unity t-shirt on the event day and get ready to enjoy a great hike with our Unity family. And lastly, mark your calendars for the Blessing of the Animals on October 6th, right after church in the activity room. We're working on getting the word out, so if you'd like a poster to put up at local businesses, they're here on the table and in the foyer. And I actually asked to put one up at our veterinarian's office this week, since those folks are a part of our target audience. And as always, volunteers are appreciated. Let's welcome the members of our community to join us in blessing all of our furry, winged, and scaly friends.
Thank you, Stacy. Barbie, you want to, I can give this to you. Okay. You don't need one? Oh, you need one?
I'm going to do it from down here.
Good.
It would take too long to get up there. So I want to thank Carol Proud and everybody who worked on the First Friday Fun Night last Friday. How many of you attended? Okay, and can I, by applause, let me know if you had fun? All right. So.
One bingo 3 times.
Oh my goodness, we had a bingo night, yeah. So I bring this up because we don't have anyone to do October yet. Oh, we do. We do. Who? Mary Beth. You're all ready? Okay. It's all good to go? And
we're going to have an Ethiopian night. So
okay, I wasn't sure that was a sure thing. Absolutely. Okay. There you go. And do I have somebody who wants to do November? Do I hear November? Amy will do November. Do you have an idea yet? What? Okay. So we've got October and November taken care of. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Barbie. Let's see what else we have.
You ought to talk to Tegan and give them the name tags out whenever they get there.
Yeah, she had a blast.
She started off fun night.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, she did a great job. Okay, let's see. I think that's all. Okay, I haven't done mine yet. Ron Soul's open mic is back. Woohoo! And it will be on Friday, September 13th at 7:30. Performers sign up at 7. Andrew Atkins will be the guest host. And the rest of the information is in your bulletin. The Soul Collage Workshop will be held here Saturday, September 28th from 1:30 to 5. And Megan Lyon will be the contact person. Cost is $50, so let her know if you want to join in on that. And as Pam said, the annual meeting is on Sunday, October 27th. Don't forget that. And everything else is on the right-hand side. Read that at your leisure, and we will have the welcome next. Right? Yeah, that's what this thing says. Welcome, Sky. Come on up.
Greetings, welcome. Good morning, namaste. The light in me greets the light in you. My name, as you know, is Sky Kirshner. Thank you for letting me be your pastor for another 6 weeks. Storyteller, guide, and friend, I want to welcome you to Unity of Kanawha Valley live. And for the 16 folks that are with us on Zoom, thank you for being with us from wherever you are. Our friend Chris, what is Chris's last name? Chris. That has me totally, yeah, Chris Christ. Yeah, it's like Jesus' middle name, yeah. Chris had a medical emergency last night. His throat closed up, couldn't breathe, walking pneumonia. Nancy took him to the hospital, and he walked out an hour later, and I called him this morning, and he said, "Now about that microphone." Chris, I'm calling because you were in the hospital. He says, "No, but I need to tell you about the microphone." So Chris is doing well. Barbie, pain comes and goes. All transitions are hard. We have good days and bad days, and we're so glad you could be here today. Connie Copley requested prayers for her daughter-in-law, Danielle, who had surgery for a detached retina. I want to put a shout out for Bee's Butterfly Garden, the Monarch Watch Way Station Registry Garden, which is right out here, so check it out, all the milkweed there. Look and see if there are any chrysalises. I don't know if are there some? Not? It's too early. Okay, we haven't seen the caterpillars yet. Okay, so they're coming. I want to thank Pam for remembering every board member's name without reading it. That was incredible. How did you do that? That was amazing. And I want to put a special prayer request out for Sally Snyder. Sally is the chair of the nominating committee. The nominating committee gathers the names of the folks who will be the next board members. So I want to encourage you to include our board and our nominating committee as we get that together for the next chapter of our amazing church here. And I also want to put out a request that if you feel called to serve on the interim ministry team, please let me know. I will be transitioning into coaching the interim ministry team, so I won't be speaking nearly as often, but we have all amazing speakers. And if you'd like to help out with the interim ministry team, if you feel called, if you have some kind of gift or another, it doesn't matter what it is, just let me know and we'll figure out how to do that. I am speaking next week. Mary Kern is speaking in 2 weeks on the language of flowers. A very cool topic, so join us for that. And then our own Ron Soul. Do you have a title? Something on the Lord's Prayer in Aramaic? Ron is studying Aramaic and will be fluent in 2 weeks.
That's news to me. What part of omnipresent do you not understand?
Oh. Including all parts? Okay.
You'll have to come and find out.
All right. And there will be an after party on Zoom after the service. Join us on your drive home, on your phone, or hang out with us for the after party. Unity of Kanawha Valley is a special place. I think that's why most of you are here today. We come together every Sunday morning to celebrate love, spiritual experience, and spiritual wisdom in its many forms. Unity promotes the idea that the light of God, the spirit of love, is within you, and that by practicing going inside, resting within in the silence, you can discover this love. And when you find this love, this love finds you, you become a fuller expression of love out into the world. You don't have to do or say anything special to earn this love or be worthy of this love. It's already inside you. It's been there all along. You don't need to be born again to find this love. You were born fine the first time. This love is the source of all life and love and everything there is in the universe. If you came today to learn some metaphysical ideas and practices about love, you're in the right place. We have a cafeteria philosophy. Take what you like, take whatever helps you to be more loving, and leave the rest. If something today seems a little strange or unusual to you, that might be fine. We invite you to try it on, put it to the test, and see what your own experience is. Today, we will be looking at the idea of the power of transition. The power of transition. Affirmative prayer is a central part of what we're about today, so let's do a short affirmative prayer right now. Would you soften your gaze? Close your eyes if you feel comfortable. Let a smile come to your face and notice how that changes, or if that changes how you feel right now in this moment. And would you say to yourself, I can weather any transition. I have come this far. Whatever life holds for me in the future, I trust I am not alone. I can weather any transition. I have come through many already this far. And whatever the future holds, I know I am not alone. And if you would imagine that you are sitting or standing in front of someone who has helped you through a difficult transition in your life. Look that person in the eye. Let your gratitude for what they did or how they were with you fill your heart. Recognize the difference that they made when they helped you. And would you say to that person, thank you for helping me along the way. Thank you for helping me to be a more loving person today. And if you would, give yourself a nice big stretch and a nice big yawn. Take it when you come up and help me here for a second. And if you would stand up, please, we're going to practice balancing. 10 seconds on each foot. This is one of the best things you can do for yourself to help yourself not fall. Oh, Barbie, nice job. Okay, not on the other foot though, Barbie, right? No weight on the other foot. Okay, other foot, Mary had a little lamb. Yeah, oh, taken. Oh, hands count. Yeah, you can put hands down if you want. Nice, okay. All right, give yourself a round of applause. Find someone who's sitting alone or someone you have not met yet. I introduced you to a bunch of new folks today. So go up and introduce yourself to them and say to them, thank you for being with Jeff, our hard-working heroes of heavenly humor. For Peggy Gunther, our persistent pronouncer of pleasing proclamations. For our board of directors, they deserve another round of applause. Phil Herndon, Barbie Dahlman, Mary Beth Beller, David Getman, Laura Wellstead, Kate Fleck, and Stephen Keith. For our nominating chair, Sally Snyder. For our amazing Zoom team, that's a big part of what kept us going towards through COVID, right? We had this amazing AV club, Amy, Rich, Chris, Danny, our zeroed-in Zohans of the Zoom zone. Not to mention our hostess with the mostest, Ernie Kessel and Tabitha Koffendegger. Our daily word reader for today is Janet Prince. Thank you, Janet. And our junior bell ringer for today was Pam. Let's hear it for Pam. Pam really knows how to ring our bell, and thank you for that, Pam. And if anyone would like the chance to ring the bell going out, feel free to have at it. There are not many churches with a rope bell that you can do that with. I want to encourage you to spend some time in loving silence every day. And I want to remind you that God is our source. The pen is in your hand, and a new day is dawning for us all. So let's join together in a more extended period of quiet and prayer as we settle into the present moment, this present moment. You might notice the good feelings of the fun and connection that we just had. Connecting with old and new friends, how that brings smiles and laughter to our faces and to our hearts. And we carry this good feeling into this silent moment. You might notice the sounds in the room, the air moving through the system. The sound of people shuffling and adjusting. You might notice the experience of being in your body, of having a body, of being a body. You might notice your breath. All of life involves transition and change. Change from one state to another. Both the circulation of our breathing and the beating of our hearts represent for us these kinds of cyclic changes. The heart contracts to squeeze and push the blood out, and then it relaxes and allows for more flow to come in. As we breathe, we release what is no longer useful. And we take in what gives us life. At the top of the breath, there is this transition as we switch from bringing in, and we start the next phase of letting go. And then at the bottom of the breath, we rest, we relax for just a beat. We have this moment of gratitude. This sense of the next breath coming. And as we let go of the breath we no longer need, we are mindful that we are serving the needs of other living beings on this planet. What we release, the planet is able to use. What plants release, we are able to use. And so we're not just circulating within ourselves, but we're part of this greater circulation. And as we widen out beyond the earth, beyond our solar system, to the Milky Way and beyond, we are curious about the whole expansion as the universe is expanding, and then the places where it's contracting. This taking in, this releasing, this circulating of energy and matter and light. We find ourselves all part of a great, enormous mystery. Jesus said, "Seek ye the kingdom." The kingdom is among you. It is in your midst. It is at hand. And it is within. And so we go within, aware that our presence here boggles our minds, and yet here we are anyway. We know this kingdom within to be greater on the inside than it is on the outside. It is a place of prosperity and sufficiency, a place of healing and acceptance, a place of connection, repair, forgiveness, and it is a place of guidance where the still small voice still speaks. And it's from this place that we reach out to anyone, anywhere, in any need or trouble. Those living in fear, those who are running for their lives, those who are trapped and cannot run and can only hide, those who are living in pain, those who are grieving, those who are struggling with addiction, those who are in recovery, those worried about the future or unable to let go of the past. We remember you right now. We see you. And we remind ourselves and we send this message to you that the presence of God, the presence of love is spread out equally throughout this world. There are no places where God is not. And the awareness of this presence, the awareness of God, the awareness of love, the awareness of hope is possible in all circumstances to every single person without exception. And for this, we are grateful.
The word for today is grace. Through divine grace, I am abundantly blessed in every way. Grace is an awareness that wherever I am, God is. It is my reminder to let God be God in me. Grace assures me that I am never alone on my journey through life, that no matter what I do or fail to do, I am unconditionally loved and accepted at the level of spirit. Grace touches every area of my life. In a lonely moment, grace is the overwhelming awareness that I am loved. It is the surprising way through a challenge I consider unsolvable. It is my whole body suddenly glowing with the power of divine life, even as I experience a health challenge. These are just some of the ways I experience grace. Grace need not be, nor can it be earned. It is a divine gift, available at every moment. As I open my heart to divine grace, I am filled with indescribable peace. Hebrews 13:25, grace be with all of you.
When I heard Sky's title, Power of Transitions, still the title, right? Okay. You never can tell. You never can tell with Sky. He's very spontaneous. I thought this song immediately came to mind. Okay. And you can help me sing it. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to reap, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to laugh, a time to weep. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to build up, a time to break down, a time to dance, a time to mourn, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, 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 and a time for every purpose under heaven. A time of love, a time of hate, a time of war, a time of peace, a time that you may embrace, a time to refrain from embracing. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, 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 and a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to gain, a time to lose, a time to rend, a time to sow, a time for love, a time for hate, a time for peace. I swear it's not too late. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, 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 and a time for every purpose under heaven.
Let's sit here. It's so good to see you. All right. I had a question about you in school. Oh, thank you for that. All right. My name's still Sky. What's your name?
Tegan.
Tegan. And did you tell me you're in 4th grade now?
Yes.
And tell me about the name of your teacher.
Her name's Miss Hudno, but she lets you call her Miss H.
Oh, she lets you call her Miss H. Nice. And how many schools have you ever gone to? Have you only gone to one school your entire life, or have you been to several schools?
I think I've been to 3 schools.
3 schools. What was it like on the first day of school when you were at a brand new school? Like, how long have you been at the school that you're at now?
5 years.
Oh, 5 years. That's a long time. Do you remember what it was like on your first day when it was a brand new school?
Not really, because we had to do it on Zoom because it was in COVID.
Oh, right.
So
The COVID generation. Yeah. Right. So when you went to the school for the first time, what was that like? Do you remember that day?
I remember Play-Doh.
You remember Play-Doh?
Yeah, because I remember we each had our own Play-Doh, and she was talking about Play-Doh.
Oh.
Our teacher was.
This is the COVID bonus. You get your own Play-Doh. Yeah. How did you know which room to go to when you got...
They'd show us.
They showed you, right? Because
Yeah.
you didn't know. Right, you had never been in that building before?
But ours was right by the big star painting.
Oh, very cool. Nice, you like that painting?
Yeah, but they took it off now. They painted over it.
That happens, right? The things you like, they pave paradise and they put in a parking lot. Yeah. Remember that line. That might be meaningful to you.
I know that song.
You know that song. Oh my goodness. You might write the next version of it. Well, let's get a card here. Pick a card, any card. What does that card say?
I can be patient.
You can be patient.
I'm not sure about that.
Is that, yeah. I looked over at your grandmother and she kind of went, well, Yeah, that might be a good one for a lot of us. Well, let's hold that thought in our mind, and let's listen to the sound of this bell. Can you still hear it? Me too. Mother, Father God, we give thanks for the patient people in our lives. We give thanks for this child and the child in each and every one of us. Amen. Thanks so much for coming out. Let's hear it for Tegan. Yeah. Well, I want to thank Ernie Kessel's husband, Charles, for sending me the joke for today. I'm not beyond needing jokes, so keep them coming. The photon goes to the hotel, and the bellhop says, "Do you have any luggage?" And the photon says, "No, I'm traveling light." So put your head on your hand on your heart, please, and repeat after me. This is my heart. Through it, I am connected to my neighbor, to my source, and to myself. Breathe that in for a second. I'm learning to trust it in all things. And I am grateful. Well, I really appreciated Kathy Nutter's lesson last week on the third act of life as she transitions from a house to a Subaru, and we're driving all over the world and exploring, and the song that you did last week, A Voice from Afar. And by the way, I want to do a shout out to our AV Club. The sound last week and the whole production on Zoom was incredible. And I think the Zoomers will agree with me. Every whisper of your song came through loud and clear. It was that. So let's hear it for our AV Club. And the song, A Voice from Afar, knows right where you are, calling you like a traveler. So as you know, I'm transitioning into making my next steps into retirement. And this week marks two things I never thought I would do. One of them I'm scratching off the bucket list, and I'll mention that in a second. But the other is, I actually read one of the articles in the AARP magazine. I couldn't believe it. I read the entire article, not online. I read it in the magazine. Kevin Costner, age 69, talking about retiring. So he's got a couple films to do yet, but he writes, and what caught my mind was he was born in 1956. I was born in 1956. Don't you hate it when accomplished people are the same age as you are? I always, yeah, you accomplished a lot, but you're 5 years older than me, right? So as long as you're older than we are, then the accomplishments are fine. But now, okay. And he writes, I'm actually quoting from AARP magazine. This is what it's come to. But it's good. He writes, I'm getting old. I have a shelf life. And eventually I'll be too old to make the next movie. And I really want to make it. Kathy Nutter last week said, there are things I want to do and I'm running out of time to do them. And so I started listening. I started listening to myself, that voice from afar that calls you to do more with your life. Now, if you're young, relax, just coast, you got plenty of time. How many people can relate to this idea, though, that you're thinking about, like, what is the end game here? And what do I want to do with whatever years I have left? I was lucky enough to hear the Dalai Lama in Louisville live. He has a special relationship with Louisville. He was at the Yum Center. I don't know where that name comes from, but a yummy name, I thought, YUM. But there was a question about, in Tibetan Buddhism, they have these kind of scary images of like devilish kinds of things. And somebody asked him the question, why do you have these scary images in Tibetan Buddhism? And he said, well, it's very simple. When you have reincarnation, there's no sense of urgency. You don't have to do something urgently in your life. You can just coast along and do whatever you want because you know you're going to come back, and you can do it you can put it off till the next one. Anybody relate to just putting it off to the? So he says, so we build in these scary images to remind people, no, take advantage of doing what you can in this life because this is the one you've got. So he said, we're not trying to scare anybody into like being more serious about their life, but when you've got reincarnation, it's easy to let things slide. You can coast. I'm just going to coast for the next 100 lives, and then I'll pick it up. Then I'll get serious about love and forgiveness and all these other things. So I like the idea of watching the countdown, seeing how much time the basketball team has, and it's they can score 10 points in 10 minutes. I mean, it's amazing how these basketball teams can. Or 10 seconds, right? They can score 10 points, and that's amazing, right? How do they do that? But they wouldn't do that if there wasn't a countdown clock, right? So the countdown clock brings a level of seriousness, a level of intentionality to one's life. Kathy's prayer that she's been praying, I thought was so beautiful. When she gets a little inkling of what life wants her to do next, she said to God, if this is your plan, guide me there, right? This is my idea, this is your idea, so show me how you want this to happen. I was talking with Jane Smith, who has coached many, many people in their careers, including in their retirement, and she asked me a really important question. What are you going to do after you retire? Retirement is easy if you have something you like to do. But if work is all you have, you're probably going to be having a hard time of it for a while. So what am I going to do with my retirement? Well, I can share with you, I did kick one thing off the bucket list last week. Yep. Let's see if this is going okay. Yeah, can you see that? That's the Milky Way. I've always wanted to take a picture of the Milky Way, and there it is from Spruce Knob. I had no idea what it was going to cost me because the group I was with got up at 4:30 in the morning to catch the sunrise, and then we're up till midnight to catch the Milky Way. And I had to recover the entire week after that. If you're not sure if you believe that that was me, here it is. See, that is me. That's me having just crossed off the Milky Way shot from my bucket list. 50 more things to go, apparently. But I'm on my way. If you'd like a copy of that, I've made it my screensaver, and it looks fabulous, so just send me an email. I'd be glad to send it to you. Joseph Campbell refers to these moments of transitions as the call to adventure. There are basically 3 ways that you get called into an adventure in your life. Sometimes you're forced into the adventure, the way Jonah and the whale was forced into his adventure. If you remember correctly, there's a big storm, and the captain says, why do we have this storm? And he gets the inspiration. Somebody on the boat has a problem with God. The person who has a problem with God is Jonah. Jonah is, God said, go to Nineveh, and Jonah got on a boat going the opposite direction. And so they did what any self-respecting group of sailors would do. They cast lots to see who was having the problem with God. Jonah gets the small lot, he gets picked, and do you remember what they did? They threw him overboard. Right, that's what any self-respecting, yeah, you're the problem with, you're the reason the storm is happening, so they throw him overboard. That's how he winds up getting eaten by the big fish or swallowed by the big fish. Sometimes the adventure that you get called to is one that you're seeking, like the adventure that Moses goes on when he climbs to the top of Mount Sinai out of curiosity to see this burning bush that is not consumed by the burning. And sometimes the adventure finds you, like when Jesus calls the disciples and says, "Follow me." They're just minding their own business, but he finds them and they drop everything they have. They go through a transition and they follow him. I think that's what's happening with me as my wife's parents age, and she and I are feeling this call to be closer to them in Costa Rica. Every call to an adventure begins with an ending, a leaving of the previous comfort of what is known and familiar, and moving into the area of something new and unknown. William Bridges wrote a book called Transitions. I always thought that that was a funny name for the author of the book Transition, Bridges. He says, every new beginning starts with an ending. Every new beginning starts with an ending. Leaving the past behind, leaving the familiar to begin what is new. And in between the leaving the past, and let's put it over here, leaving the past and the future of what is, there is what he calls the neutral zone. Sometimes he calls this the meantime, because we say, in the meantime, but it can be a meantime. It can be a difficult time being in the neutral zone between what's comfortable and familiar and what's unknown and we're moving into. We're not sure how this new thing is going to be or what it's going to feel like. This is all symbols of birth and transition are like this. Very comfortable in the womb. We've been there for 9 months. All's good. And then what the heck? These contractions start, and now the call to adventure begins. You didn't ask for it. Well, maybe some kids did, right? Maybe Britton was asking for it. He was trying to, yeah. But, or you like it and you don't want to come, but no, you're coming anyway. And you're cast into this world that feels very unfamiliar and not nearly as friendly or happy. Every time we move, every time we do something new, there's this period of not knowing until we get used to it. Think back to when you were in school, you moved from one school to the next. Maybe you'd never even been in that school before. You didn't know where to go. Tegan says they showed us where to go, right? And if you remember that time, and then, after a couple of months or a year or two, you might not like the school, but you know where things are. You feel comfortable to navigate it. Maybe you knew people at the school, or maybe you were brand new. Everything was bigger at first, and then when you go back now for your reunion, everything seems so small. I'm sure everyone here, I'm guessing everyone here has had the experience when you've either moved homes or you've moved jobs or something's new, and you've driven your car has driven the same roads every time for 10 years, and then that person moved or you moved, but your car hasn't gotten the memo, so your car still is going to the same place, right? Isn't that interesting? We kind of automatize our lives, and the car's going there, and then you realize, oh no, I don't live there anymore, I live over here. This is the meantime. This is the time when the the newness feels strange and we haven't made it automatic yet. I remember how strange it felt when I lived alone for 43 years of my life, and I had a cat for about 15 years, and that cat died. And for the first couple of weeks, I would sort of wander around the house wondering where the cat was. Anybody relate to this? Right? And I'd be lying in bed and I'd go, pss, 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 to call him, and then I'd realize, oh yeah, he's not here anymore. That's the meantime. That's the in-between time. It's sometimes a dark night of the soul. Sometimes it can be a real time of soul searching. Jonah gets swallowed up by the big fish. He's in there for 3 days. That's a good symbolic number. That's the number of transition, one of the numbers. It's unclear if he's going to survive or not. I know in the cartoon he lights a fire and the smoke causes the fish to cough him up, but that was probably, I don't think this is a literal story. I think this is a symbolic story, but just imagine being in the belly of the whale. This is what it means to be in the in-between place. It's dark, it's cold, it's saliva-y, it's sticky, it's yucky, right? And you want to get out, but you're not sure how you're going to get out. The other number of transition is the number 40. Noah and his family are locked up inside the boat for 40 days and 40 nights, not sure what's going to happen. Jesus gets driven out into the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights, not sure what's going to happen. I couldn't find it, but one of my favorite joke pictures is a picture of a red convertible with the Holy Ghost driving Jesus out wearing sunglasses. Jesus wears sunglasses. The Holy Ghost is driving Jesus out into the desert. You have to see it. Okay. It's interesting, it's not Satan that drives Jesus into the desert, it's the Holy Spirit that drives Jesus into the desert. He needs to go through his period of transition. So immediately after John the Baptist baptizes him, he's driven out into the desert by the Holy Spirit, 40 days, 40 nights, comes back, and that's the beginning of his ministry. Up until then, it's just a bunch of stories, but it's not like the technical beginning of his ministry. This new thing happens after this period of in-between, the meantime. The new thing is going to become familiar eventually. It's going to become what the old thing was the old thing was the new thing, right? And we moved from whatever that transition. I kind of think about it as puddles. It's like, here's this one puddle and here's another puddle and I'm a frog and I'm, life seems to be like this. Like we get comfortable in the puddle that we're in, everything's good, and then for some reason we decide to jump puddles. Maybe we heard about another puddle, maybe this puddle's drying up, but for some reason, or maybe we're cast out of this puddle, or it got too crowded for us or whatever, but we're moving from puddle to puddle to puddle. The old puddle is comfortable, the new puddle is uncomfortable, but it's going to become comfortable. I've moved geographically from house to house a fair amount in my life. When I was young, those moves often had to do with family disruptions, parents separating, coming back together, arguing and separating again, coming back together, each time involved a new house or a new apartment, finally divorcing, going off to school, going off to college, going off to graduate school. All the moves I've ever done from 18 to 43, I did by myself. It's kind of yucky moving alone, for those of you who remember what that was like. I knew that most of my moves were temporary, that I was only going to be there for a short time. I always longed for a place that I could call home. And I certainly found that here in Charleston, a place to be from, a place that felt permanent. I've been here longer than I've ever been anywhere in my life. And the same is true in my spiritual life. I've been to a lot of different churches. I've tried a lot of different religions, different kinds of spirituality. I always longed for a place that would feel like home for me, that felt like it really fit. And then I found it here at Unity. And I had that experience that some of you had when you first walked in. You walked in and you said to yourself, this feels like home. This feels like, I didn't know this existed. I was having all these thoughts, all these Unity thoughts. I didn't know there was a group of people that was actually meeting together and talking about this and doing this. And now I'm no longer single. I'm a married guy, so the next move will be as of, well, at least my wife. The kids are now out. And I'm blessed to be able to say that whatever moving happens this time, I will not be alone. I have not only a partner to live with, and that has challenges of its own, but it's pretty wonderful. And I also have, thanks to Unity, a sense that whatever happens next, whatever is unfolding, that it is working out the way it's supposed to be working out. That everyone will be all right, and everyone will have the chance to develop their next level of their own loving self, including you and me. I think the Unity principles really help in these times of connection. I think the Unity principle that I'm holding on to at this point has to do with faith and courage, two of the 12 habits of stepping into the unknown and trusting the process. You know, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore moved around a lot. Charles, I think he grew up in Minnesota, but he got on to the push west. I don't know if it's Conestoga Wagons, maybe, because in the Unity story, he talks about the only place he could sleep, the only place he had to sleep was under the wagon that he was on that was pushing west. And he had a lot of different jobs, a tinker, repairing things, helping with the group that was moving west. And then had a lot of, he was very entrepreneurial, was in real estate for a while, was in magazine publishing for a while, tracts, the old, before phones, you would give out pieces of paper for people to read. Interesting story for both of their lives. A lot of things didn't work out for him and for them, but in the story there is this continuous thread, this movement and unfolding that everything was contributing towards whatever the next thing was. I think both he and Myrtle had a sense of faith and trust in the divine order of the unfolding of things, and the practice of releasing limiting doubts and beliefs in terms of where this whole thing was leading. So I want to, here in closing, lift up our five Unity principles as applied to transitions. Principle 1, God is present in every transition. God is omnipresent in every transition. There's no spot where God is not. God is in that next puddle, right? Even that unfamiliar one. There is guidance and support that's happening all along the way. Principle 2, recognizing your divine connection and inner power with that unfolding of love in the universe, and that you're part of that unfolding as you contribute to how the whole thing unfolds. I was looking out at our garden in the back, and we have so much milkweed now. It started with 3 plants, and I have Laura Wellstead to thank for it, because a couple of years ago, Laura said, we were talking about what's been going on. She said, I just got back from Ohio. I was at this garden place, and they've got native milkweed there. And I said, really? And she said, yes, and you might have given me one. And Maria and I went up a couple weeks later to that place, and we got a bunch more and brought them back. I planted some here at Unity, and I planted some, and it's like taking over the lawn. I mean, it's not just in the garden, but it's like, that's pretty cool. And at the same time, it's not a very attractive flower. There's a reason that they call it milkweed, right? Because it's like, do you really want this in your flower? And I bet this is why we don't have as much of it as we could use, because it's not a pretty flower, it's not a pretty plant. But if you like butterflies, this is the thing, right? That's why we have bees, BEAs, am I pronouncing it right? Bees Butterfly Garden here at Unity of Canal Valley, the Monarch Watch Way Station. Now, you all probably know about monarch butterflies. You probably know more than I do, but you know that they migrate, right, from Mexico and Texas all the way up into Canada and then back down again. Some of you might not know that journey takes a monarch butterfly 3 generations. I mean, get this, just imagine this. The butterfly that takes off from Cappuccino, whatever the name of that town is, where in Monterey, I know I've got friends in Monterey, and they have sent me videos of the butterflies going past, and they're part of the butterfly counting thing, so they count these butterflies. So they're coming up from Monterey, Mexico, through here, all the way up to Canada. It's the butterfly that comes back isn't the butterfly that took off from Monterey, right? The first butterfly makes it like to New England, and then it dies like it does how does it do it? I need to get my head. So, it lays its eggs, right? And then the caterpillars are born, it lays its egg, and the caterpillars are born and they eat the milkweed, right? And then the second generation goes further up to Canada, starts to come back, they lay eggs on the milkweeds, and then the third generation is the one that makes it. How the heck, right? Is that crazy? How many people didn't know this? Like, this is like, check it out, make sure I'm not lying, but it's like, wow, talk about transitioning, right? This is even a 3 generations transition. We're doing it anyway. Come on, let's go. Let's go to Canada. Yeah, we might not make it, but somebody will, right? Somebody's going to make it back. And why is it the Monarch Way Station? Because there's not enough milkweed. We need little stepping stones along the way to help give these guys. These guys are amazing. They need all the help we can give them. So we're giving them all of the help we can. Your thoughts, the idea of the Monarch Way Station, of planting milkweed here, this is a thought, right? It begins with a thought, and then Laura gives me the idea. I go up and get them. I plant some here, and then the garden group just takes off with that. These begin with thoughts. And the thoughts become realities, and then the realities become way stations of hope along the way for those of us who are transitioning. Certainly here, the principle 4 of using meditation and prayer to be at peace with whatever place we are in the transition. And principle 5, that we live our truth and take inspired action even when we're feeling uncertain. I know a number of you have gone through very difficult transitions recently, whether it's with your own health or the health or survival of your loved ones. We're all transitioning from one thing to another. So I want to encourage you to stay, to continue your mindful practice, to continue that practice of peace beyond understanding that happens when we go into the silence, and to continue to practice letting go and being open to whatever is new. Thanks so much for letting me be here today, and I'll look forward to our next song.
Okay. You're the prayer chaplain. Okay. Right beside of you.
Good morning. If you would, please, ushers, come forward. What would we do without you? I have one usher with 2 plates. Okay, do you want me to? We got an usher. Oh, good. Okay, if you guys would, please join in the offering blessing, which is right inside your bulletin. Prayer. Divine love
moving in and through
me,
blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give in love. I trust God.
And I'm grateful.
This is a new song that I discovered on Mountain Stage a couple of weeks ago. It was written by Carrie Newcomer. Let our hearts not be hardened. To those living on the margins, there is room at the table for everyone. This is where it all begins. This is how we gather in. There is room at the table for everyone. Too long we have wandered, burdened and undone, but there's room at the table for everyone. That's your part. Let us sing the new world in, and this is how it all begins. There is room at the table for everyone. There is room for us all, and no gift is too small. There is room at the table for everyone. There's enough if we share. Come on, pull up a chair. There is room at the table for everyone. No matter who, no matter who that you are, no matter where that you come from, there is room at the table for everyone. Here and now we can begin the beloved community. There is room at the table for everyone. There is room for us all, and no gift is too small. There is room at the table for everyone. There's enough if we share. Come on, pull up a chair. There is room at the table for everyone. There is room for us all, and no gift is too small. There is room at the table for everyone. There There's enough if we share. Come on, pull up a chair. There is room at the table for everyone. There is room for us all, and no gift is too small. There is room at the table for everyone. There's enough if we share. Come on, pull up a chair. There is room at the table for everyone. Let our hearts not be hardened to those living on the margins. There is room at the table for everyone. This is where it all begins. This is how we gather in. There is room at the table for everyone. There is room at the table for everyone. There is room at the table for everyone.
The ushers would please come forward. Divine Source, you permeate every pore of our being without exception. And we are so grateful. You fill us with love and peace and serenity. You give us purpose. As we transition from the familiar through the meantime to the new, we know that without exception, you are there. And we say thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Amen. I will be in the back for prayer and a blessing, and I'll be glad to turn the microphone over now.
Let's make our circle. Does anyone have a birthday to celebrate? Don't celebrate it. Too late. Ruth, when was yours? 4th. Anyone else? Anyone else? Let's sing happy birthday.
Each moment
Good morning, everyone.